We're just 6 weeks away from the June 22nd primary election. And tonight, 8 of the top Democrats vying to become New York City's next mayor faced off in the first televised debate of the campaign season. Instead of taking the stage, they shared the screen in a virtual showdown on New York One. News 4's government affairs reporter Melissa Russo is in the newsroom now to break down the hot topics and key takeaways. Melissa?
Once candidates start getting desperate, it's going to get really nasty.
They squabbled over their records and their big donors.
Don't get me involved in your daddy's problems. Nope.
I want to be clear. There are dozens of these groups supporting almost every candidate that's in this race.
8 Democrats who want to be mayor tried to distinguish themselves on policing and gun violence, perhaps the most pressing issue facing the city this week, following a shooting in Times Square that left a toddler wounded and another in Brooklyn that injured an NYPD officer.
A lot of communities know who the troublemakers are. And if you can bring them in and say, look, if something happens in your neighborhood, you're going to be one of the first people we call, then you can start to get the rates down.
Both Andrew Yang and Eric Adams support bringing back special plainclothes police units to fight guns.
95% of those who are victims to gun violence are black and brown. 95% of the shooters are black and brown.
Maya Wiley went after Adams, a former police captain. In the past, Adams has criticized the misuse of stop and frisk, but he's also noted its effectiveness in getting guns off the street.
And just a year ago, you called it a great tool. There was nothing okay about it, and it certainly was nothing more than lazy policing.
Every time you raise that question, it really just shows your failure of understanding law enforcement.
I have a deputy mayor for public safety. Day-to-day job is to manage the NYPD and interact with the folks in the neighborhoods.
Banking executive Ray McGuire proposes restructuring the NYPD.
I'm a 6'4", 200-pound black man. I want to have the police protect me and not profile me.
Both McGuire and former City Sanitation Commissioner Catherine Garcia are big on police accountability, but not defunding police.
Actually measuring the interactions with community. This is also personal to me. I come from a multiracial family. My brother is black. My children are half Puerto Rican.
Several other Democrats prefer community investments over tougher policing.
We actually need to recognize that police respond to crime. They don't prevent crime. We need to invest in our communities, not in people. We need to address the conditions that make people unsafe.
And I know that we can get to, by the end of my first term, reinvesting $3 billion into our communities from our criminal justice system to break the cycle of hopelessness and crime.
We cannot, in this moment, simply go back to the Giuliani style of policing that impacted black and brown children, that scarred them. And we have to seek a better way.
And on school reopening, 5 of the 8 Democrats said they would require public school students to be vaccinated if vaccines are approved for their age group. None of the Democrats said they would force teachers to be vaccinated, and only 2 candidates, Eric Adams and Scott Stringer, said they would offer parents a fully remote learning option in the fall. David?
Melissa Russo, our government affairs reporter, hard at work on the campaign trail. And as this intensifies as we move forward, we here at News 4 New York, along with our sister station, Telemundo, are teaming up with Politico and the New York Urban League to host the 3rd and final Democratic mayoral primary debate sanctioned by the New York City Campaign Finance Board. That's going to be held in person here at 30 Rock, June 16th. Tune in. It'll be at 7 p.m.